Hi folks, and welcome back to the Star Wars Library, where Star Wars is in print. And today, in this supplement episode, I kind of went back and forth on how I wanted to, if I even wanted to do this or not. See, this book I'm going to talk about is from 1992, so we're past it in our chronology, but it's a unpublished book that is readily available, and I kind of went back and forth on, do I include it or not? And I decided to for a few reasons. Number one, it is readily available. You can go and read this online very easily. It's not hard to find. Number two, it was originally written for the Star Wars canon. It just wasn't published. And number three, just personally, I do consider it part of the EU canon. So I decided, well, I'll do a middle of the road. I'll do a supplement episode. And so, like I said, it's readily available. I consider it canon, but it is Heart of the Jedi. And Heart of the Jedi was written by Kenneth C Flint. This was going to be coming out in 1992. It was actually advertised very early on in the Expanded Universe's lifetime. I mean, we're talking around the time of when the Thrawn trilogy was coming out. This was 1992, was when it was actually completed. So it probably would have come out in about 1993, maybe around the end of 92. I'm not particularly sure on that. I'm sure it's been released or told about that. But that's kind of where we were looking at here. So this was going to be, put out there by Bantam, and it just decided it just wasn't going to be. It was approved to come out, and then it just wasn't going to come out. I'm not entirely sure why. I guess Bantam and Lucasfilm decided we're not going to do this. We're going to go do this. And so sadly, Mr. Flint's book was never published. And so years later, Joe Bongiorno, who is the author of Supernatural Encounters and also who owns the StarWarsTimeline.net website, which is one of my all-time favorite Star Wars websites, he reached out to Mr. Flint and asked if he would be okay with releasing it. And so Mr. Flint said yes. And they worked together to kind of edit a few things and to, make it all compatible with the Expanded Universe. And then they put it out there. It's published on Joe's site, so you can go to StarWarsTimeline.net and read it if you'd like. There are also some physical copies that have made appearances throughout the years. The first was in 2016. A fan put it together, and it was very quickly shut down, obviously for copyright reasons, because you can't make money off of something that's owned by someone else, in this case, Lucasfilm and Disney. But before that happened, I was able to score a copy of Heart of the Jedi. This is the 2016 fan print, and it's in hardback. It's designed to look just like an old school Bantam book. I love it. And I just, it's so cool to have this, and I have this on my shelf, and it's a beautiful thing. There's also a version that is a little bit more documented and a little bit more well-known. It was a paperback version that came out, I think it was like 2021, 2020. I'm pretty sure it was 2021. And it was a paperback version that was sold on Amazon, and it was pretty, it was on Amazon for a long time. It was actually outselling a lot of the new canon novels at one point. Dylan, who did a great post or great series about this, tracking it by the numbers on the expandeduniverse.com. So definitely go and check those out if you're interested. But of course, eventually it too was taken off of Amazon. That one though, maybe it lasted a little bit longer because that one was not really the only it was really only on there, or the price, I guess, was really just enough to cover the shipping or the printing cost. And then, it was sent out. So a lot of people were able to get a hold of a physical copy of this. I didn't get the paperback version just because I already had this version. And to my knowledge, there was nothing new in it. It was just a paperback version. And plus, I like hardback better. So now, if you do want a physical copy, I would say make your own. Because I actually, before I did this video, I did a quick Google search just to see if there's any physical copies of this out there. And there are some of those paperback versions that I talked about. And those, I think the cheapest I saw was like $200 some, $250, $200. It's insanely expensive for a paperback book that costs like $8, maybe 9 or 10 with tax, but still, that's ridiculous. So you're better off just getting it for free from Joe's site. Maybe make your own personal copy or something. I don't know, but do not pay that much money for it. It's insane. But it's just kind of an oddity, just to kind of see its history. You know how it kind of just keeps popping up a couple times, and it's really cool to see like this was outselling Disney canon, an unpublished old canon book. That just baffles my mind. But anyways, let's actually talk about the story. So the story here is Han, Luke, and Leia basically are, you know, it's like your typical old school Bantam book. It kind of is like a hybrid between early Bantam and a Marvel comic book, a Star Wars Marvel comic, or at least that's kind of how I kind of view it and how it kind of reads. It reads well. I enjoyed reading it, but it's definitely, that's kind of how it feels. But anyway, so the big three, they're trying, they're working with everyone else to build the New Republic. This is, you know, a couple of weeks, maybe a year or so after, I think it's a year after Return of the Jedi. And so they're trying to do that. And the Imperial Remnant, of course, is not happy about that. And one of the main bad guys is called Admiral Tharkus. He is trying to stop this from happening. The book actually kind of mentions, and I don't know if this was Mr. Flint's idea or if this was Joe's idea, but or maybe both of them together when doing the editing. But they actually kind of talk about how several people, so you could be like Isard or something, was trying to kind of grab for power. Tharkus is he's not bad. I mean, he's no Thrawn, but he's not bad. He's not a terrible bad guy. But anyways, so he's trying to stop them from doing that. He's trying to stop this peace from the New Republic and the Empire, or Imperial Remnant, whatever you want to call them. And so Luke at this point is kind of feeling, he goes to Tatooine and he's kind of like, you know, we see this a few other times in you know, the EU, especially before Jedi Academy. He's kind of, you know, he's kind of doubting, like, you know, am I qualified to train new Jedi? We see it a little bit in Truce Bakura too. You know, he's kind of like, am I, you know, is this, you know, what I should be doing? And so he's counseled by Obi-Wan's Force Ghost on Tatooine, which is cool. It's always cool. Yoda's Force Ghost makes an appearance as well, which is always, you know, which is, it's just, I like that. But anyways, Obi-Wan's like, well, here you go. To give you confidence in your skill, you must find the heart of the Jedi. And so that's kind of what sets up the plot here. Palax is a shapeshifter, so I believe that's a Claudite, same species as Zamwazel from Attack of the Clones, and so he's kind of, Palax is kind of, he's following Luke all around, he's reporting him to Tharkus, and so it's basically a lot of the story. It ultimately kind of comes to a head. Luke and his friends save the day, they stop Tharkus, and, you know, when they're like, oh, Luke, did you find the heart of the Jedi? No. Luke's like, I have the heart of the Jedi, and I have confidence in me, and, you know, insert the Sound of Music song, and then the book kind of abruptly ends. That's kind of, I noticed that, and that's another common, I guess, criticism. I don't know if I'd call it a criticism, but that's kind of how it feels. It just kind of abruptly ends. It doesn't kind of have a good falling action and then a conclusion. It's just kind of not even like a falling action, like a falling cliff. Just end, done. That's just something I noticed, and again, I know I'm not alone in this. So, The Heart of the Jedi, is this an essential read for your Expanded Universe collection or reading? No, not really. And I don't want to come across too harsh on Mr. Flint on this book, because, again, it was an unpublished book. It was finished, and it didn't go through all of the editing and you know, publishing process, because it didn't come out. This was him and Joe Bongiorno, and I think they did a good job. I enjoyed reading the book. I really did. I did not dislike reading this, and it's fun. I look forward to rereading it as well. You know, again, so not a bad book at all, but it's definitely not like in my top 10, or I don't even know if I'd say it's in my top 20 EU books. But it's good. It really is. So it's up to you if you want to read it or not. I mean, honestly, like, there's some cool connections here. Like, there's a lot of references to the Marvel comics. A few other things as well. It's mostly the Marvel books, but still, again, continuity and connections. I love it. You know, it's like I said, so it's up to you if you want to read it or not. Do not buy one of those crazy physical copies that are online for 3 figures. That is so overpriced. Again, go to Joe's site, get it there, or make your own physical copy. Maybe we'll see it pop up on Amazon again, or I don't know. But until then, don't break the bank for this. But it is readily available, so definitely check it out if you haven't done so already. But anyways, folks, that is all the time I have for today, and I will see you next time with another episode of the Star Wars Library.